What is going on? I am making a video right now today about none other than the new moon in Scorpio. In case you did not know, today 10/27/19 is a new moon in Scorpio, and it's important. It's very important. A lot of shifts are going on, and it's a time for a rebirth. It's a time for powerful change. And this morning I woke up and it wasn't even fully in my consciousness that this was going on. I knew it was coming up, but I didn't know today was the 27th. I'm very out of sorts with time and everything right now. I'm just kind of like in an interesting place, which goes in harmony with this energy. But anyway, so I wake up, and then as I'm starting my routine, I see this suggestion to watch a reading that is going on live on YouTube. And it's a reader, Vajra Grace the Gifted. I'm subscribed to her channel. I haven't really watched many of her full reads. This one was alive again, and I've seen some of her Divine Masculine love letter channeling. She's very talented, very gifted. Her name is Vajra Grace the Gifted. I ended up clicking on the live to get some more information about this new moon because I wasn't really too sure about it, but I know this energy has been intense. And sure enough, I go in at the midpoint of her reading, mind blown, just like, wow. And then get to the end, start it over right back to the beginning to see what I missed, even more synchronicities, crazy signs. She's talking about so many things in just the space of 1 hour that I've been touching on and picking up on. And it's just like confirmation that the information that I get, the insight, the intuition, and all of those things, they come from a space beyond and above who I am. And it's just like everybody's starting to get these messages. The more you get in alignment, you're starting to see all these messages. She's talking about the shifting, looking for the lessons and things. She talks about synchronicities, looking into numbers and looking things up. She mentions the number 117, a page number. And then it gets so intense that I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. She mentions that. And then I look down, and the count of how many people are watching her live becomes 117. And I'm like, well, damn, that's right. That's what she just mentioned a minute ago. So then I said, okay, let me look up 117. And I go on my little Google search, and of course I hit up Joanne Sacred Scribe specifically because a while ago when I started looking into numerology and synchronicities and things like that, her site came up, and I had just some kind of resonance with that. So I'm like, I always go to her. That's who I want. Why did in this video, this live video, Vajra Grace goes, she tells people about how they need to look things up and research it, look into it. And she's like, and I'm not just talking about going to Joanne Sacred Scribes because that's who you've always gone to, and da-da-da-da. And sometimes it's about looking outside of that norm. And I was like, damn, she just called me out in this video. It was awesome. I love that. It's so refreshing that sometimes these things, they apply direct to you. These people in these videos, they can speak straight to your core, because that's just the magic that we're in right now. You don't even realize it, but you're speaking to a specific soul at any given moment, and then you're attracted to it for that specific reason because there's a message in that for you. And she's also talks about the different queens in the tarot deck adding up to, in her mind, the Queen of Pentacles being the top queen, and then the Empress and stuff like that I've talked about. And it was really cool. So it also got me to thinking about so much of what I'm trying to transform. Well, let's get into the new moon first. So the new moon right here, just some quick things. This is a little reader on the new moon in Scorpio. Actually, this is just about Scorpio moons in general. The moon in Scorpio, it says, represents an intense as well as profound emotional style. There can be obsessiveness, turbulence, and other dark undercurrents. Still waters truly run deep with these souls, as do their passions and their insecurities. This is giving reference to specifically Scorpio signs. But as we know, or should know, if you study astrology, as above, so below, we're all underneath these forces, and the influence impacts each and every one of us during the season. Also, the moon cycles, we're all impacted by it. Women are more heavily affected by the moon when they are not in alignment. That's why menstrual cycle follows the moon cycles for most women who are very in that flow. I've kind of worked over the years to kind of break that influence, and even right now this last one, I'm just like, great, I don't even feel moody like usually I would around the last full moon that just passed up, because I'm like out of that cycle of being completely taken over by it. But at the same time, you definitely still have these influences. As men are more influenced by the sun, there's still going to be a masculine influence on these states as well, being the Scorpio influences, where it's talking about things that are secretive and hidden coming to life. The dark being earthed to the surface. All things supernatural, witchy, deep psychology, and it goes on to talk about how Scorpio may appear to be a closed book. Their moods are mystery even to themselves. When emotions are at their most intense, it's like the moon is likely at its most empowered. The tarot card that represents this is Death, which is the transformation card of the tarot deck as well. In order for something new to grow, there has to be an ending of something that preceded it. I didn't notice here that this is actually pulled from stateofwildgrace.com, so there's something with this word grace right now that's a synchronicity, because like I said, the video that I'm about to reference or show some pieces of, it's Fiery Grace, the Gifted. So there's something about having grace through this transformation. And this transformation is about deep change. A new moon in Scorpio calls us into deep places, and a tight opposition to Uranus right now, which is also having some alignments with this new moon, means we have no idea what we might find. It's time to ask this new moon for the courage to head into the dark. It's where the gold is. So again, having courage to head into this head first, knowing that what's going to come out of it is going to be powerful and for our benefit, is part of that grace as well. We're not going to resist this because it's happening regardless. But you can resist it, but then you're going to not. You'll see. Anyways, the new moon in Scorpio again, and last thing, it's an intense, deep new moon where powerful new beginnings can happen and big transformation can take place. However, it's by no means an easy new moon, and it's the type of time where something has to be released in order for something better to take place. Again, this is that death and rebirth, rising phoenix from the ashes type of energy. It's all kind of culminating and pointing to this idea that we've basically all been going through the ringer recently, energetically, and that's for a reason. It's because we're culminating to this 2020 year, this big cycle of 2020 vision, like they say, you can see clearly now. Everything is shifting. We're going to a conscious awakening, 2020, being able to see things from that higher perspective, ideally. So that's the goal. Whether we make it through there in one piece or whether we go through kicking and screaming is what this is all about. There's a minimal amount of time right now, so you can kind of feel pressure building in a lot of areas of your life. This intensity is pushing you and urging you to make the changes that you need to make right now. In Fiery Grace's video, she talks about it as far as changing your perception now, because 2020 is not the time where you want to be changing your perception or trying to get in line with the things that you've been putting off or putting away by the wayside. You want to already be there, because right now people who are getting in alignment with this are kind of catapulting themselves that much further to being in the 2020 energies that much sooner. And personally, I don't know, that's where I want to be. So again, like Savon Bomar was talking about, I mentioned a second ago, how that 2020 gateway, as you could call it, is like, just like in the Bible, narrow is the gate, straight is the path, but you're going to be able to fit more smoothly and flow into the changes that are coming, or you're going to go through kicking and screaming. So that whole square peg, round hole analogy, it's like if we're on a big planetary circle that's trying to move through to the next stage of human consciousness and evolution, there could be a piece of this gateway that's exactly fitted to a perfect circle that we can just kind of glide right through as a people and just make it smooth and seamless because we get it. Or we can keep on living ignorantly and ignoring the parts of us that are agitated with the way things are, And you could end up not basically morphing into that uniformed consciousness that fits straight through that gateway. So instead we could be this big old deformed blob of a planetary species, because we've got so many sick, warped, twisted people here, and then so many people that are blind and or putting blinders on and acting like everything is all roses when you're like scrolling through Netflix and they have this thing about, oh, I was a victim of R. Kelly, here's my story, and yet the man hasn't had any charges, and none of us have taken like a stand to look further into the music industry or the movie industry that we know created that monster, if you will, and so many others, which at this point it's become pretty clear to all of us that the Hollywood industry needs some freaking overhaul, yet we're all just still sitting around buying tickets, watching the movies, acting like it's all entertainment. That's just an example. So we're ending up in this big old morphed blob that instead of us gliding through that gateway to our higher consciousness and everything that's good and for us, we could end up smacking up against it and being pushed through in a very uncomfortable, very painful sort of way. Just like a lot of people have been experiencing in this past few months with the energies and the things that they're going through, because we're fighting it, and so we had to be forced through. We're going through constant gateways and portals in each new moon cycle, full moon, each moon cycle in general, and just in life in general. That's just what it is. But sometimes we're a fit and we flow through. Sometimes we fight and then we have to be forced through. So that's what this is about. I'd say another thing that Savan Belmar talks about is he had this analogy when he was on some sort of, I don't know what the drug is, but he refers to it as crystals, or not crystals, that would be meth. The diamonds, I don't really know what that is, but he says he was on the diamonds and he was doing an experiment with them, and he was talking to his consciousness, the higher self, the all mind, and he was told that, because he was fed up, he was like, why am I not getting through? I've done all these things, I've sacrificed my ego, this whole lifestyle he had, fast life, lots of money, women, cars, all this stuff, access to all of these worldly things, but he wasn't satisfied. He gave that up. He started diving into self-development, started working on all these things, wrote this book, gave it away for free because he knew that you have to be selfless and be of service, but he still wasn't making the quantum jumps that he wanted to. He felt like he hit another wall. So he's like, what is it that's keeping me stuck? Why am I not advancing beyond this? And it told him in this kind of riddle, it says, you're carrying too much weight, so you gotta wait. And so basically, like, he needed to get light, you know? He needed to get more light. And so there's that play on words there. We're all talking about being of the light side, higher consciousness, everything is light, but it's also in terms of weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. If you're carrying too much weight, not like physically you're too big, but health is obviously a physical factor of your consciousness and your energy and your quality of life, but this is talking about spiritual weight. So if you're carrying too much spiritual weight, again, and we're in this big deformed blob state, and we can't get through these portals, you can't move to the higher realms carrying all this spiritual weight. What kind of baggage are you letting weigh on your heart, on your consciousness, on your psyche? What are you holding on to as your story of why you're not getting there? Are you blaming someone else? Are you sitting there waiting for an apology for someone that you think is going to free you and release you to the next level? That's just too much baggage to carry. You gotta let stuff go. You gotta let your story go. I was thinking about that today. It's not so much that, so I was thinking about these homeless situations, a lot of homeless people, and how just that alone, if we really feel like we're at where we need to be as a people, and we're still going to keep watching these presidential debates where we don't ask the questions, we let them form the questions that they're going to answer to each other, and it's all this little staged play, then why do we see things like massive suffering going on in the world around us? Is that okay? Do you think we've really arrived? Do you think we don't have any better ways and better ideas of things, ways to do things? Like, you got people living on the streets and stuff like that, and the crazy stuff that's going on, crimes of people that are homeless and all that. And I'm like, you know, I can relate to that. I sympathize with those people, and some people just can't sympathize and empathize because they haven't been there. And I was thinking back and I was like, damn, yeah, I really have been homeless in my life. I've been homeless. You know, I wasn't on the street, praise God. I was just with a single mother, and we've been in and out of dwellings, and there's been periods of time, stretches of time where I did not have a home. I didn't have a room. Going back and forth between family members' house until you overstay your welcome, have locks changed in the middle of the night, living out of trash bags. I spent a period of, whether that was, I don't remember if it was elementary or middle school or somewhere in between, I was living out of large trash bags and living in a hotel room, an extended stay hotel. And I was just happy just because I could plug in my Super Nintendo and play some video games. But, you know, I knew that that life was not going to be permanent, that that too would pass. But, you know, for the time, you just take what's handed to you, and you know that that's not because you are a bad person. These are just the experiences that you go through as you shift and as you change, and that builds you into the kind of person you are in the future, to where you can value and treasure a home at a later date when you become a homeowner. And where you can make a decision of whether you're going to just get to be the type of person that says, okay, now I got mine and I don't care about the homeless on the streets. And you're going to say, no, because I've lived through certain experiences, now I understand that it doesn't take much to change my life from day to night, where I'm not so different from that person on the street. And where I can't just turn my head now and act like that person's not there, because I've been in that similar circumstance in my own way. And I think we as a species can do better at trying to create solutions and trying to overcome and reshape ourselves into a harmonized unit so that we can flow through this gateway together. I don't want to be smacked up and forced through against this gate that we're just too blobbed out and disfigured to coordinate ourselves to get through. I don't know about you, but I'm just feeling more as a people, like as a consciousness, we've overstayed our welcome in this frequency of greed and lack and selfishness and division, separation, all this stuff. Like, I'm over it. I'm very uncomfortable here. I feel very, very uncomfortable in this day-to-day life, you know, going into work and certain people come in and they bring all this negative energy, gossiping, talking about other people. And I'm like, you don't know their story. And I don't either, but I'm not going to listen to your warped version. I'd rather you keep that to yourself. I used to get so frustrated every day. Now, because it doesn't change, they stay the same. Now they come in and do it, and I'm just like, I pop right on the job board, and I'm like, thank you for this discomfort. That's going to shift me out of this position because I've outgrown it. I'm like, I'm so ready to drop everything so much quicker now. Anyways, getting into this awesome video. I highly recommend you watch it to better understand, but as a way of kind of making it more condensed, I wrote down some of the highlights from her video, and I'd like to share some of them with you and kind of just see how it goes. From 4 minutes and 49 seconds to 6 minutes and 25 seconds. I don't know how accurate I'll get to playing that, but I'll kind of try and go along with it a little bit with the audio. It's where she talks about how intense this last cycle was and how it's over now. And we're about to experience a Scorpio rebirth.
There are multiple cycles within cycles within cycles happening. And this one was very, very special. And it's why it was so intense. It's why there's so many other alignments happening right now. So, accept the fact that that period is over. You're leaving that behind. If you're watching this live as we speak, if you're watching this later, you could probably remember there was a point on, Sunday, where you started to feel that energy melt away. You're now entering into a more powerful energy, and Scorpio is going to help you. That Scorpio energy is going to help you stand up. There's a kind of a phoenix rebirth happening right now. I'm envisioning a lot of divine feminines especially standing and saying, I am done. I will never go hungry again. I am over it. I am ready for something better. I want my best life, and I want it now. And if I have to, I don't care what I have to do. I'll do it. So very interesting. The energy Ace of Pentacles. We have the inflow of abundance, okay? A lot of it, in fact. A lot. This is a big, big, big deal because this impacts all of this. And what I think they're letting you know is a lot of the things that were being impacted lately, we're trying to get you to focus. I can't hold these up. Sorry, guys. I got to put it down for a second. We're trying to get you to focus on who you are and why you're here. And
that's right. So that right there was from 4:49 to 6 minutes and 25 seconds. The next part, I'll jump over here to 11:11, which is another synchronicity, if you know about the numerology here with that. This is, I don't even know why I'm even trying to do this, but I'm going to. This is crazy. Because in this computer, for some reason, there's no built-in speakers, and I never bought the attachment for the speakers. I don't know why I'm going to do that, but why? Because I just usually listen up with the headphones. But so I'm trying to coordinate the screen with the audio on my phone. So bear with me. And it doesn't really matter. She just has cards on the screen, but I don't know, it's better than just looking at a blank screen, I presume. So, I'm trying to jump here on the phone a little closer. This section is from 11:11 to 12 minutes, where she's talking about, it's kind of a message for light workers who tend to procrastinate. This is going to start off here a little before 11:11, but it'll catch up.
Energy. And so it's like if you can focus and you can do some work right now, it's not going to be as much as you thought. I don't know if I've got any procrastinators out there right now, but if you've been the type of person that will wait, and some of you have heard me talk about it. I moved from Vegas to Tampa, and my life was really messed up, for like about a year. And so I just had crap everywhere. Just not really everywhere. I kind of like clustered it into one little spot in my house, but it just looked terrible. And every time I would put stuff away, I would go, oh my gosh, that took 5 minutes. I cannot believe it's taken me this long. And guys, I still have stuff everywhere. And I still know it would take me 5 minutes to do it. That's actually what's happened. You've been tricked. You've been lied to by your own self that doing your light work is going to be a hindrance to you rather than a blessing. When you start moving in that light work, the abundance flows. You are fed up now because you're finally ready to do what you're supposed to do. So
you're fed up now because you're finally ready to do what you are supposed to do. And another message right there while I get to the next section about how we've been lying to ourselves, or something about this energy right now that's pretty amazing, is that when you get into this, I know you probably feel it, it's like the quickening, we're calling it the quickening, where you're just like, I felt like we just started 2019 and now we're about to rapidly approaching November and then December. It's like, where did the time go? Or even a week, you're like, that flew by, October flew by. Or what happened in July? It's almost like we're time traveling, things are just accelerating. But in that same token, astrologically, there's actually a metaphysical component to this, is where there's these special moments in time, these special alignments where you can do work and put in, say, 10% and actually manifest 50% of the results, just because of your timing and being in that flow and that rhythm. So literally, it's almost like you're quantum accelerating your growth because you're taking the steps, you're taking the leaps in the right moment when you're divinely guided to do so. Therefore, you jump that much further ahead than if you were to drag your feet. Again, whether you fit and flow through the gate or whether you fight and you're forced through. I hope this is gelling for someone. I don't even know who's going to see this, but the right person will. Because this is, if you get this, man, it's half the battle right there. Okay, so this next section I'm going to show you right here starts from 16 minutes, 43 seconds, really quick, just to about 1650. I'm going to get it in as close as possible. But she's talking about here, my notes are that God has been sculpting us to reveal the true us, essentially. So I'm going to go through a little ahead of that. There you go.
I don't want to say clay because that's too malleable, but actual just stone, maybe granite or something like that. And you can kind of see from the top up where they've carved the person or whatever the figure is, and then the bottom still has this big chunk of the stone or whatever they're carving. And it can feel like crap to have someone with a chisel and a hammer just... It's like getting a tattoo. If any of you have ever had a tattoo before, especially in some of those more painful places, right, where maybe there's a lot of nerves or bone or whatever, and it's just that tedious, just dragging, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And that's how it's been feeling. It's been feeling like there's a lot of pressure. And it's because there was more to you than you thought there was. So whether you've...
That's it right there. There's more to you than you thought there was. Jumping ahead now to 2250 to about 2321. This is weird, but hey. I think it's working, more or less.
Stand for the phone to look at. I already had everything. For years I've had most of this stuff. Some of you are missing the fact that what you've buried and said isn't valuable, or even your talents that you have buried and said, oh, I'll get back to that one day, is what you're going to need to break out of where you've been financially, mentally, physically, whatever. It's time to get up and get out and do something different right now.
I got a little trigger happy there. I didn't explain that section before, but it's what have you buried? What have you been burying? What talents? What people have you discarded? Not people, but like at this point, you have your discernment. We're going to get to that a little later. If you develop your own discernment, then you can kind of trust that what you're cutting out is meant to be cut out. What you're keeping there is because you want it there, because you know that it's a part of your journey, part of your mission. That includes people, places, things, events, all sorts of things. But in this little part, she's talking about what have you discounted because, and if I could just go back because I do think that was important. What have you buried or discounted? That's right in front of you.
Is on my phone. I already had the stand for the phone to look at. I already had everything. For years I've had most of this stuff. Some of you are missing the fact that what you've buried and said isn't valuable, or even your talents that you have buried and said, oh, I'll get back to that one day, is what you're going to need to break out of where you've been financially, mentally, physically, whatever. It's time to get up and get out and do something different right now.
There we go. That was worth playing a second time. Now I'm going to jump forward to 4853 here. Alright. This next part goes up until about 50 minutes, 14 seconds. She's reading a card about the deity Vajra Yogini. And the message here is that it's already within you or in your possession. And so she talks about in this reading how everything kind of flowed into the next thing. All the cards were really telling a story. And it was really dope how it was doing so because it's further proof that Spirit, that God has a message, a specific message that's trying to be spoken. So here's the card on this Vajra Yogini deity and what she's all about.
17, if that means anything to anyone. All right. She is the power we all possess to transform mundane experiences into higher spiritual paths. Ooh. She's considered the supreme deity of the Tantric pantheon. She is also a Dakini, a tantric priestess, and a female Buddha. All right, let me go here. So when your soul selects her card, no matter what has happened, recently or in the past, she reminds us that we possess the fierce wisdom that transmutes any pain or suffering into deep lessons that free us and bring us more joy. That is, wow. She's the call to wake up if we've fallen into that old myth, wow, that something or someone outside of us is going to save us. She's here to make it loud and clear that what is within us will save us. Wow. She's here to make it loud and clear that what is within us will save us. This is like the third reference I'm hearing now of someone is trying to tell us you've got everything you need right now. It's in you, it's in your house, it's in your life already. What you need is already there. Look around. Ask yourself, write this down. Where am I missing what is already present in my life?
Yep. All right, next is, there's just 2 more sections. This one's at 56 minutes and 53 seconds. Do you trust yourself? Have you found your own discernment? Do you trust yourself? Or are you still looking outside of yourself for answers, for anything? Again, it's at 56 minutes, 53 seconds. If you go back, you won't be wasting your time if you actually watch her whole video. Not at all. But in this bite-size 140 character Twitter world that we live in, I know you guys have, some of you have short attention spans, so let me just give you the Reader's Digest here. So 56, 53, this is around there.
Become a light worker. There are people I'm just never going to be able to work with because I don't have anything to help them with. You guys need to be able to take the time to ask yourself. I'm a coach. I can help you clarify, but what about you? Do you trust yourself? Have you helped grow your own thoughts? Have you helped grow your own abilities? Have you gone within and found your own discernment, your own what's that word, like your inner man's, spirit voice, if you will? Have you heard the voice of divine within you? That is what I think you need to be doing right now, is flying above the nonsense and hearing the still small voice, hearing the whisper, hearing the universe say everything's fine, everything's going to be okay. So this is very interesting to see what's been worked on. Is I think that they've been kind of encouraging you to go talk to other people just to see how much confusion and chaos you get when you go from, instead of going within, you go outside.
How much chaos can ensue by going outside of yourself instead of trusting your own intuition. This next point, and I even love how she says here too, she's like, going to a reader. It's not always about going to a reader. There's psychics, there was one I saw in the past, like a psychic can even manipulate you, or a psychic can even be manipulated if they're not going through the right steps of blessing their cards, of blocking their energy, of making sure that they're pure in heart and in spirit. They're not saying, like, say they have an ulterior motive in the answer or a stake in what you're asking them. Do you think it could be not beyond them to withhold information or kind of misguide or mislead the person who's surrendered all of their basically their own intuition to this person? Because they say, you have a gift. We all have psychic gifts. Come on. So it's like, you can go to them as a coach, but to go outside of yourself will end up being a detriment in this place and time. If you fail to trust yourself and find your own discernment. So the last section is going to be at 1 hour and 24 minutes and 42 seconds. Yeah, so the video is actually like almost an hour and a half. So hour 24, 42. Maybe I can like chop this up and make it like all nice and professional with some video editing to make it not so choppy. Or maybe I'll just leave it because perfection isn't the point. Alright, here we go. This section, this last section, is noticing the darkness, intensifying their attacks basically against us. So as like I said, like the darkness is going to be more attracted to the light, right? As you rise in consciousness, as you become more of your true self. This isn't about saying, am I good enough? Or I'm too flawed to, walk this path, to even call myself a light worker. If you're here, if you're incarnated here at this day and age with life, like everything I was saying, like with R. Kelly and all this stuff that's going on, if you incarnated at this stage and you have a desire to see things better, you do have everything within you, and you did choose to be here for a reason, and you are powerful enough and pure enough to make that difference, period. Because otherwise you wouldn't have been sent in. You're either going to be a force for the dark or a force for the light, and there's no in between. Like, there's no fence riding at this point. So if you have that desire within you, just stop the negative self-talk, because that's a tool of the darkness right now. Like this section is going to talk about, they're going to intensify their attacks, their manipulations, their distractions, because at this time we're starting to be like, they don't even matter anymore. It's like child's play. You can see it. You can see when a person's trying to manipulate you. You can see a person's intentions when they're coming from a place that's trying to slow you or deter you. You can sense negativity. You can feel energies that much stronger. Our gifts are being intensified. Like I said, that 10% is giving us 50%. That 50% is getting us to 100. It's like they're kind of scurrying right now. They're fleeing because as more people light up, it's that 100th monkey. It's going to be a massive shift in consciousness. The more people just simply awaken and say yes to their divinity, it just kind of uncovers itself. It's not like you're trying to grow into this light worker. You're trying to uncover the light worker within you that you have buried with all of this programming. So it's like you're already there. It's already who you are. Again, if you have that inkling and that desire, it is within you, and you have everything you need to fulfill your mission. Here's this last section here.
When that happened the first time. And it was like, are you really going to try to play with me with old drama and old nonsense? And I was like, uh-oh. If you're trying to mess with me with stuff that I'm already over, that I've already shifted from, that I'm okay, like, uh-oh. So if you guys have been feeling like crap lately, y'all, even the highest of the highest and all that, because y'all be putting me up on this pedestal like I'm not just a regular person, so even we are dealing with stuff. Even we, the ones who are aware and are connected and are like, God, why is he trying to play with me? I got the devil sitting under here and I got my heel on his face, and I'm just like, why is this boy trying to come after me? It's like, have you ever just held your arm out on like a little kid's head as they try to like swing at you and you're like, what are you doing? That's how I've been feeling lately. But some of you believe that the dark forces can touch you. Some of you believe that, when you're under attack, all you can do is just lay down. Some of y'all needed this message to know, soldier, that was not what you thought it was. Get up, put your freaking armor on, and go do your damn job. It was not what you thought it was. Don't let your ego trick you into thinking it's over. It was just the beginning. That was just to get you tough. Don't stress that. Look back and ask yourself, all right, what did that training just prove I still need to work on? Don't look back and say, look at how weak I was. I just cried and oh my gosh, I made that bad mistake. I called so-and-so. I did this. I cussed out my... Stop. Who cares what you did? You can't fix that. Stop. Stop right now. Today, we are empowered. Today, whatever you do, however you do it, y'all, I'm a Christian. I have a direct connection to God. I have absolutely no reason to do some of the stuff that...
The video cut out right before the end of this that she just said. So I'm gonna just play it back, because you deserve this. You deserve to hear this, because you might not go listen to her video, but I want you to at least hear it here. Because soldier, put your armor on and do your damn job. I think she was at the part where she's just like, stop. Today you're empowered. All right, here you go.
I have a direct connection to God. I have absolutely no reason to do some of the stuff that other people do, but I still say create a ritual. For me, my ritual is I'm going to go meditate. I'm going to go sit at the throne. I'm going to go lay in my daddy's arms, and I'm going to talk to him and ask him what I need to do for the next 2 weeks and what I need to know about this energy and what was I missing? Why was I under attack? I'm going to go ask him all these things. Some of you need to, again, smudge or, recharge your crystals or, do some sort of written ritual or bath. Whatever, do it. This is not the energy to skimp on. This is not the energy to ignore. And this is not the time to wallow. I got so much love for y'all right now. I got so much love that I'm going to tell you straight to your face. Do not let karma or ego block none of this very special energy that's headed to you.
You're about to be more powerful than you had ever imagined. You're about to see more abundance than you could have ever fathomed. You're about to touch more lives than you could have ever dreamed of. And your life is going to be enriched. And you're going to be rewarded for all the hard work that you've put in. If you take the leap, if you allow yourself to fit and flow, I cannot stress enough. I hope, and I pray that just with these messages alone that it kind of shared with you, if you go and watch that full video, great, but I hope that this was just enough to show you that the most intense part is over. That if you allow yourself to go through this rebirth, if you don't fight it, you won't have to be forced through in these painful ways. That's over. If you stop procrastinating, as you see that God has been sculpting you to reveal the true you, as you recognize that you've buried or discounted some of your own gifts and your own power, if you allow the energies and the spirits and the essence around you to show you and to speak to you and to give you confidence that everything you need is already within you or in your possession, as you learn to trust yourself, find your own discernment and stop asking and relying on others to tell you who you are or to give you the green light to walk into and step into your abundance and your future, then you will notice and you'll become more aware that the darkness that's intensifying and the attacks that are going on around you and the hiccups and the obstacles and the so-called things, the mountains that look so impossible, are simply just child's play. They don't even matter. You're going to hold out your hand like she did to that little kid and you're just going to say, no. What are you doing? I think the darkness has overstayed its welcome. And where we are, we've risen up to a higher level where we can just see it's time to shine. We've entered a new way of being. Speak as if I'm already on the other side. And I think that readers that are gifted like her, she's not even a tarot card reader, like she says, she's an intuitive guide, speaking from the heart, channeling messages from God and Spirit, staying in alignment. This is the side that I want to be on. These are the people and the messages that I want to take in, and everything else can fall away. So I hope this has helped you in some way. I hope that you, again, can check out her channel, Vajra Grace the Gifted. Give her a like on her video. Again, this is her message. I'm just adding to it because I got immense value from it. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being your beautiful divine essence self in this day, in this time, in this space. Like I said, if you're here, if you're alive in 2019 and you're actually at least looking into this kind of thing, if you have just the smallest inkling of an interest in being all that you can be without joining the army, if you're like, if you just want to do something, at the very least you can join a cause or support someone who's on their mission. Find a channel like Fiery Grace, give her a donation, that energetic exchange, or just repost part of her video. That's all I'm trying to do. Get the message out there, allow people to see that the stuff is going on. We're inundated with the stuff that's on the news that's not even an iota of the truth. It's just like, it's a manufactured existence that they're putting out there to portray to everyone, to say that everyone is selfish and greedy and negative, and that's just not the case. We are out there. It's a time to connect. It's a time to come together, to come out of our little hiding places where we've been kind of in our mad laboratories, just turning into geniuses of studying other people's stuff. It's like you've got your own stuff. You've got your own genius to share. Like I said, there's a light worker inside of you. You're not trying to become one. You're trying to uncover what you've covered up. So I'd love to connect with others on that journey, on that path. If you've heard anything else that's useful or valuable like this, any tips or anything like that, I'd be overjoyed to hear them. My email is my first name @gmail.com. And that's it. Take care. Thanks for watching.